I'm going to talk today about futures finality. I'm wearing this bag because I lost a bet last night, so I have to wear this on stage now for the rest of the day, and I have got like 5 speaking things. Great. So how we measure success is broken. It's kind of like a hot take. So like I said, futures finality, what I wanted to talk today about is that if you look at the space right now, and I get it, is that narrative and hype are pretty much like prevailing, right? You got super fast blockchains, you got blockchains that are like, you make a lot of money, yada, 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 but, we're in this space, most of us in this space now for a minute, and we've seen it when things go wrong. And then every time we turn around and say, we got to do better. We've got to do better. We have to make sure that this is a safe space where your funds are safe and better UX and yada, yada, yada. And then we turn around and then you see the next wave of projects coming with their hypes. And this is not me fudding or shading on other projects or anything like that. But I very consciously chose, for instance, for a rollup that implements ZK. I vividly believe, like the previous talk spoke about, the future of ZK and the potential of ZK. I'm a very big believer in that. Also, if you're looking at the slides, my story and the slides don't align, so you get to pick what you read. It's either focusing on the slides or me. But I think that the potential of finality, so what is finality? Okay, this is the only slide, which is basically means that, okay, when is the transaction done and settled? So when is the ZK proof generated for the specific transaction? And it means like it's all said and done. So for a ZK rollup, you have a transaction that's sent, it's batched, then the proven network generates a proof, is sent on-chain, and when the proof is posted on L1, and Ethereum's finality is updated as well, that's it. So if you send me 1 ETH, roughly 15 minutes later, that's, done. You could, technically speaking, bridge it out of Scroll. With an optimistic rollup, as you might know, you've got fraud proofs, and so what that means is that there's an arbitrary period, right? And again, this is like, we love the OP team. This is not to FUD or anything. I think that OP was very, very important at a time where we needed an L2 to scale. Transaction costs were way too high for Ethereum. But why I believe in ZK is because you have a transaction and you provide the receipt. It's like, hey, this is valid, here you go. And so what that does for on-chain transaction is it makes it more secure. And it's not sexy. It's actually, so we were not the first to launch. We were, I think, the second to last to launch. But we had the fastest finality because we believe that is very, very important. If you bridge your funds in and out, if you want to make sure that the transaction, that any interaction you have on chain is actually happening the way you want it to happen. In order for that to make sure that you swap or whatnot as you intended, the finality, i.e. the end state, needs to be reached pretty clearly, pretty fast. So. And it's not just like from a security point of view. I know this is a bit like far out, but from an interoperability point of view, imagine if you have instant finality and proof generation that allows for instant finality. It goes leaps and beyond for what it does for interoperability too. So if you look at cross-chain communication, but also something that we'll be coming out with soon, is that when you want to, let's say, communicate from an L2 to an L3, end state, reaching fast end state is going to be crucial. As a matter of fact, we focused a lot on finality, making sure that we have the fast finality. I think among the ZK rollups, we have the fast finality. And then, we committed to a roadmap 1 year ago when we launched our mainnet, or 10 months ago, that we would also cheapen the gas fees, because just having fast finality is not good enough, but it also needs to be at a certain quote-unquote price level for gas fees. And so we've done that over the past 10 months, and now, while we're pushing, let's say, for for the boundaries of finality, because what we believe it can do for security and for adoption. And so, two things. One, we really believe in in ZK, so much so that we're doubling down on it. We've got a next-gen ZK VM coming out. Obviously, those who are not familiar, SP1 obviously is pushing the boundaries for the benchmarks. We've got a next-gen VM coming out that utilizes ZK. And then we've got our own stack. So we've got Scroll SDK coming out, which the ecosystem will be able to use this fast finality. So you'll be able to spin up your own chain, your own L2 or L3, utilizing our stack, which basically means that we'll make sure that this level of finality is available to the ecosystem. And we believe that in a world, the multi-chain world, it's going to be very, very important that ZK is available to the standards that we use it for the ecosystem, especially as well to make sure that cross-chain communication is the potential for cross-chain communication is there. Generally speaking, what we see is that there will be a lot of chains, and these chains will form clusters. So there will be a chain for X and Y and Z. So there will be app-specific chains, but the user doesn't care, right? So if you have all these chains, the user doesn't necessarily care about, okay, I'm on X or Y, Z chain or this gaming chain, and so we believe that some of these chains will form clusters, and then communication between these chains is going to be vitally important, and end state is going to be vitally important. But at the same time, you don't want to give up your governance. So you don't want to connect to a shared bridge. You don't want to give up maybe any tokens, etc. So ideally, every single of these chains, if they reach the end state as fast as possible, and they are able to communicate this, because they have reached the end state, this will allow for a greater UX. So being having ZK at the fingertips, and being able to use our stack for, let's say, your own L2, which has the fastest finality, would benefit the ecosystem in terms of security, but also in terms of user experience, being that chain X and chain Y have both reached, let's say, the end state very, very quickly, and now even potentially if you want to move funds or communicate, like cross-messaging, that could be done very relatively easy. So we believe that one cluster will always have a hub at the center that doesn't have to be Scroll. It could be like, these could be different kind of chains with satellite chains, and we'll come out it. But ZK and Finality will be at the heart of this. Thank you.